theonlybobby.com. Today, I am doing my first interview with a regional marketing leader, and she is with Amadeus North America. Her name is Kristen Goldman, and she's in charge of regional corporate marketing for the Americas. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you have a lot going on, and I just wanted to have a quick chat with you about your feel for different areas as a marketer. And but first, if you can give me a little bit of a description of your background, that'd be great.
Sure. So thank you for having me, Bobby. My name's Kristen. I oversee corporate marketing and communications for Amadeus IT Group in the Americas. So we work with a great team to make sure we're executing on the company's global strategy with nuances targeted toward the region. I have worked in marketing or communications in some capacity for the past 25 years.
Wow.
So come from all angles.
Wow, that's a pretty long time working.
Yeah. Date myself a little bit, right?
No. So with that said, as you being a leader in at Amadeus North America, I wanted to ask you a little bit about decision making and when you make certain decisions, what kind of process and methodologies you use to come to those strategic decisions. And obviously this can be really high level and no specifics are needed.
Sure. So the first thing we always do before we even start talking about an idea is we obviously have a lot of processes and procedures for tracking, managing hours, capacity. Those are very standard and common. We don't do anything until we know what the end game is. So first question, what are we trying to achieve? So when we're meeting with a client, that's the first thing we say. One sentence, what are you trying to achieve with this? And interestingly, sometimes you need to have a bit of a conversation to figure that out. But I believe when you start with the end and then work backwards about how you can get there, it's most effective.
Yeah, and I've always thought kind of the same process of think with the end in mind. Yep. And always have that objective and goal kind of. So it's great to hear that kind of your strategy is more or less kind of.
Yep. You don't start there. You can waste a lot of time. And sometimes the objective changes, and that's okay. Yeah. But it's just good to have a common understanding of everybody who might be working on a project of what are we really trying to get out of this? Who are we talking to? What do we want our audience to do? And what are the next steps we need to take to get there?
Right. I mean, and what type of advice do you kind of give to somebody who may have made a mistake in strategy? And I think,
well, mistakes happen, right? We all make mistakes, and we learn from them. My advice with mistakes, and I've been involved in many projects where some mistakes were bigger than others, some were very minor. I think the first step is to just recognize it, own it, acknowledge it, and then set it aside, right? Don't get too wrapped up in who's accountable, who did this, what if this person did that. The goal is to fix it, to rectify it, and move forward in a more productive way. So recognize it, acknowledge it. Where do we go wrong? Okay.
No, that makes
What
sense.
steps do we need to take to rectify this moving forward? Do we need to do anything? Or do we just learn from this and let it go? But really just acknowledge it, not placing blame, and saying, okay, we know what the problem is. What do we need to do next?
Yeah, let's move forward. Right?
Yep. Let's move forward. Exactly.
So speaking of kind of mistakes where some people are successful and some people are fail in the marketing landscape and in the digital space, which is obviously a big component now of marketing strategy. How do you feel about why some marketers are more successful than others?
I think some marketers are more successful than others because they use their tools differently. I think if you're using a lot of digital tools in your marketing program, which most people are these days, use them to your advantage. Use them, maximize the data that you can capture, maximize how you can effectively target your audience. Go in with a good knowledge of what the digital landscape is capable of, and it's so much. And take advantage of that as much as you can.
Yeah, that's
Don't go in blind. Yep.
It's very
Burn.
Speaking of the digital landscape and channels, social media has been a huge addition to the digital landscape and what type of channels we use as marketers to communicate our brand message and either strategically or tactically. In your opinion, what opportunities or threats have you seen arise from utilizing social media?
Well, starting with the opportunities, social media has allowed us to market much more quickly, in a very targeted way, in a very cost-effective way in many cases. It does what I do. One thing that's really changing is it allows you to have interaction directly with your audience. So it opens up that channel of feedback. Where that can go wrong is if you're keeping the channels open and the conversation open, it becomes very public. And if a customer is dissatisfied or a competitor is looking at what you're doing, there's a lot of risk of exposure, right? So that's obviously a risk. I think what marketers need to do is ensure, again, it goes back to knowing your audience and knowing what you want to achieve, right? Who are you talking to in this? And the great thing about social media is you can talk to so many different audiences, whether that's customers, potential employees, just the general public, to amplify your brand message. But be cognizant of what your audience is expecting from you, what they need from you, and what they want from you, and not so much on what you want to say.
Yeah, and transparency is a big part.
Yeah.
So, no, definitely. I had a question about your approach on marketing resources, and that's always kind of a challenge for all leaders. And when you're looking at kind of marketing professionals and you're searching, what do you kind of look for as far as building a strong marketing team? And there's a lot of great marketers, but they're hard to find sometimes. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, well, I am very fortunate. I work with a team of very skilled, very talented people and have for a very long time. So I don't think it's that the talent isn't out there, it's there. You just need to ensure that you're matching it with what you're trying to achieve. In my role, the big things that I look for in a marketer are a good knowledge of marketing and a good background in marketing. If all the tactical skills aren't there yet, those can be taught. What I'm really looking for is somebody who is keeping an open mind, can think big ideas and put them into practice in a more tactical way, and who can adapt to change, adapt to the changing landscape of the marketing world, adapt to the changing landscape of business world, and continue coming up with those creative ideas in relation to what the audience is looking for from them. So I'm looking more for the thinking skills combined with the tactical skills. They're both very important. I don't think good marketers are hard to find. I think there are great marketers out there. It's just finding the right match for the right position.
Yeah, and I think kind of culture of the organization is a big proponent of it, because a lot of different people have great skills, but they may not be the right fit for that company. Doesn't mean they're not right fit for any company. They're just not right for that company. So I think a lot of people get kind of caught up on some of the hardcore skills, where some of the leaders may be looking for something else to add to that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And with that said, on the kind of the last question I wanted to area was on personal development and personal branding. There's a lot of kind of talk about personal branding and how one should be kind of promoting themselves. With the introduction of social media and digital publishing and all these other sources that we use to kind of portray a persona of who we are, how do you think that concept has changed from the standard traditional way?
Yep. Well, I think with social media, it opens up a lot of opportunities to promote that personal brand. And I think that's fantastic. It creates a platform for anybody in really any profession to get out there, get in front of their followers, get in front of their audience and promote themselves. I think the risk, not even a risk really, but more the caution I would give is know your personal brand before you go out there. Know who you are, know what you represent, know what your strategy is, know the persona that you want to build, and then build it. If you go in prepared and knowing what you want to achieve, you'll be a lot more successful.
That's very true. And I think that, knowing, to your point, knowing who you are really is a big part of kind of getting yourself up there and letting people see you, but always remember that you're kind of always, on stage and who you're depicting on your own social media channels.
Exactly. Know your own personal brand values, right? Yeah. It goes back to kind of the company way of looking at it. Don't just get out there and go. No, build a framework, build your persona, and then stick to it. Present it. Yep.
Be consistent. I think that's all the questions. I know you're super busy, and I wanted to be very considerate of time. I appreciate you spending some time here on theonlybobby.com, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you very much, Bobby. It was good to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. Bye.